What's going on, everybody? I would like to share a true story with you about the topic of depression. There was a Christian psychiatrist, and he would work with other Christians who were having serious problems. And from what I understand, he did this for decades. Christians with addictions and drug abuse and emotional issues, and especially psychological and demonic issues. And after years and years and years of this doctor helping other people, Jesus decided to put him through a most devastating experience. And what happened is he came down with some devastating depression. And it was affecting his marriage, affecting his personal life, affecting his practice, his business. It was affecting everything. In fact, the depression was so bad, it was tearing apart his entire life. And as the months passed by of suffering in this terrible depression, some of his Christian friends who were involved in deliverance ministry would contact him on the phone and say, please come to our church. I know that we can cast this demon out of you. Don't worry about the money. We'll pay for your airplane fare. Come on, brother, I love you. Please just come to our church next weekend. I'm sure we can cast this demon out of you. Well, he didn't bother going. And another Christian deliverance minister would call him and tell him the same thing, that I'm sure we can cast this demon out of you. I've been having 99% success ratio of casting out demons, and I really believe we can cast this demon of depression out of you. But once again, he didn't go. And months of terrible suffering were going by. And friend after Christian friend kept contacting him, telling him, I know this is a demon. Let me come to your house. Let me visit you. I know we can cast this demon out and you can be free from the depression. But Dr. Murphy said no. I wasn't going to mention his name, but I changed my mind here. Dr. Ed Murphy said, no, I don't want you to come to my house. And months of terrible suffering and depression passed by. Then something different happened. Another friend contacted him, and this is a fellow doctor who worked at a medical clinic. And he said something like, Ed, I know you've been suffering, and guess what? I know what the problem is. Please come by my medical facility, and I am sure that we can get rid of this depression. I absolutely know it. And if I remember correctly, Dr. Murphy didn't go right away. And in the meantime, as a few weeks and a few months passed by, some of his other deliverance ministry friends would contact him and say, please come by our church. I really believe we can cast out this demon. or please allow me to come to your house. I know that we can cast out this demon. But Dr. Murphy said no to them every time. A little bit later, the same medical doctor contacted Dr. Murphy again and said, Ed, please come by my medical facility. I know what's wrong. There is a cure. And I've worked with other patients who have the same problem, and we've had a lot of success. This time, Dr. Murphy said, okay, I'll come by. Dr. Murphy goes by the medical clinic. They run the tests. They give him the treatment, and guess what? The depression was gone. Now, what's the point of this true story? You see, we Christians always think that we know everything. I'm guilty of that, and most of you are guilty of that too. We think we have all the answers, don't we? We think that we can just cast out any demon we want and the person is gonna get better. And you know what? All of that is nothing more than pride, a lack of Bible reading, a lack of kingdom of God understanding, a lack of information, and our ego. That's what all of that is. All of his friends who wanted to command the demons out were all wrong. This was an actual medical problem that was cured and fixed with medical treatment. This story is amazing. Not all depression is a demon, people, and not all depression is a medical problem. That's why we have to be hearing from God. We've got to have spiritual discernment. We got to be able to hear from God's Son, the Christ. And if we're not hearing from God or his Son, how dare we think we know what the answer is? How dare we know? How dare we say we know what to do? How dare we say that Dr. Ed Murphy was under attack from a demon of depression when it was actually a medical problem? We've got to slow down and put a lid on our pride and shut our pride up and shut our mouths and be slow to speak and be eager to listen to God about what the issue actually is and what the problem actually is. You see, our mind, our brain is a very complicated instrument that God has created. And the spirits are very complicated life beings that God has created. And there is a lot more going on inside of our bodies than any Christian on earth could possibly understand. There is 1,000,000 times more stuff going on inside of us than even the smartest Christian on earth could ever dream of understanding. So we have to slow down and hear from God and let our ego go and let our pride go and ask God to show us what to do and ask God to show us what the problem is and what's the solution and is there a cure and what do you want me to practice? What do you want me to work on? What do you want, Jesus?